All right, guys, we're back again for another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal, passion for real estate investments. Oh, man, we have Steve Trang on the show today. Oh, man, this is great. I remember a few years ago, we were in the same mastermind, Collective Genius, and it was funny because I remember, I will never forget this. We dressed up in like pajamas for a charity event, and we're standing there with these overalls. And when I saw the picture, I'm like, it was for a good cause. I wouldn't have done it for anything else.
Yeah.
So Steve Trang is the founder of Real Estate Disruptors Movement, a podcast that has tens of thousands of followers, with members of the community sharing their success stories every week. And you guys definitely want to check that out. We'll talk about that a little bit. Steve has a nationally recognized sales training program and trains some of the top investors in the country. Steve's legacy will be to create 100 millionaires. One of his favorite quotes from the great Zig Ziglar. That's my guy too, Steve.
Awesome.
You can have everything in life you want if you would just help enough other people get what they want. That is so true, right?
It
It's
is. Totally
actually
is.
that's in all of the old books from like the 30s and up. So he probably got that from Napoleon Hill. But um, you know, he heard this quote when he first got into real estate and stuck with it throughout his entire career. In fact, it's one of his core values, essentially one of his core values that Steve lived by. In addition to being a nationally recognized sales trainer, Steve is a real estate wholesaler, flipper, podcast, YouTuber, and owns a real estate title agency. Rental properties, apartments, and the community bank. I didn't know the community bank. Community
Yep.
bank in Scottsdale, Arizona. Wow. This is great, man. Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We like to get people on the show who can add value, and you're definitely one of those guys. So the first question I always ask everybody just to get the show going is, why are you passionate for real estate investing?
Man, so before the show, you told me there was one person surprised you and said they really weren't passionate about it. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the second disappointment. Um,
It's not a disappointment. Speak the truth.
yeah. So I'm not really passionate about, real estate investing per se. I'm really passionate about entrepreneurship. And for me, real estate is the vehicle to pursue my passion of entrepreneurship, right? Like a lot of us, we get into the business for financial freedom, for time freedom, freedom to pursue excellence. And real estate's the vehicle, right? So at a macro level, entrepreneurship, specifically with the real estate, because that's the one that's the easiest, I believe, for most people to get into.
Yeah. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, it's you speak your truth. And when I first got into the business in '99, the first few years I rode the wave, and then I was a jack of all trades, massive nut. I used real estate as a vehicle to open up all these different businesses and
Mm-hmm.
didn't stick to the one thing and failed miserably.
Yeah.
That's the thing now, the one thing, core focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just, went through your bio and see, you have all this stuff going on, and that I guess you use real estate as a vehicle to do that. But I'm pretty sure that you have integrators, people who can run those business. I'm sure you're not like the
Multiple.
yeah.
Multiple. We got an integrator for each company, and then one integrator to oversee all the other integrators.
So operations person, got it.
Yeah.
So that's important. But I do know it takes time to get that integrated to the level. So you are, in there between you before you pass the baton, making sure processes and stuff are right before you step away, and then you still have to inspect what you expect. Yes.
Well, that's the ideal way to do it. Right. The ideal way is to get all the process procedures done before you hand it off to someone else. I definitely did not do it the ideal way. I'm the kind of person that makes a mess, right? Get in there, get dirty, and figure out on the way, figure it out along the way. The best way to probably describe me is someone that would jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down. Right?
Yeah. Growing
Not
while
the
you're falling
right,
down.
not the right way to do it, but is one way to do it. And
Yeah.
so hiring the integrators, they're the ones that eventually created the process and procedures that have worked well for the organization, right? Because I could not run an operation as smoothly as the people that helped me build out all these companies, right? I can tell them what they want. I can tell them what I want. I can tell them what the perfect outcome is. And I can do a lot of the different things, But to sit down and create the process and procedures as a visionary, I'm not trying to make this use this as an excuse. This is just me really like knowing myself. I am terrible at sitting down and creating processes and procedures, right? If there was a way, I've joked about this with some friends. If there was a way to just extract everything inside our brain, we create that technology, we'd be billionaires, right? But there's not.
Now you're speaking my language.
Right. So I did not do a good job creating those things. I built a company, a few companies, and have other people that have created the structure so that they're well run. And they're running the operation way better than I ever could on my own.
Grit. Sounds like grit. I mean, it's now you're talking my language,
Yeah.
Jump out the window and grow wings flying down, build the plane while it's flying in the sky. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's pretty much how we're wired. I actually recently, 2 years ago, I took the title of CEO off my business cards, off my email signature, off of that. And my team was like, "What are you doing? Who are you now?" I was like, "I'm the CVO. I'm the Chief Visionary Officer. I'm not a COO, I'm CEO." Well, who's the CEO of the company? I don't know. That guy, that's a seat missing. We need to hire that person. I'm the visionary.
Right.
So I get it. Let's talk about the market.
You're the chairman.
Yeah. Let's talk about the market a little bit. We were just chatting about that before we press record. Everything that's happening in the market. I actually love where we are now in the market, Stephen. I know it sounds strange. I grew up through adversity. I grew up through hardship. I grew up through struggle. So I fight better with blood in my mouth. This has me excited for what's to come. And it's almost like when COVID came, everybody was like, "Holy crap, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to create more SOPs, we got to be prepared." And then it went away, and everybody got comfortable again. Now we're back in the mix for a very long time. So let's talk about how that's changing the dynamics of your video. I saw your business. I saw a video that you did. It was actually on the news. A news reporter interviewed you. I'm like, I know that guy. So you was on the news, and you were talking about how, especially in the market where you are in Arizona, you guys get hit first on the West Coast. How it was changing and how you had to lose money just to get rid of the property or take less profit, I believe it said in the interview. And that happened months ago, right?
Yeah, that interview was a month or two ago. So first I want to say I love this line of "you fight better with blood in your mouth." That's a fantastic line. I've never heard that before. So the transition for us, because we were holding properties, right, when June hit. And June isn't some magical date, but things started slowing down in March. I kind of missed it, not paying as much attention. And then June, things got really real overnight, right? It got realer. It got real overnight. And so everything we held instantly lost value. And so for us, we were buying deals and looking at each one of our properties that we held onto. The question is there still enough meat right now to sell it? And if there's not, how little are we losing? So we just closed on one a couple of weeks ago. We just pulled the numbers yesterday, right? We just finished a P&L for the property yesterday. We lost $40K on that property, right? Whoa. My biggest loss to date on any single property I've ever done. The one that was in the news, we're closing. I want to say this either today. We're supposed to close yesterday, so hopefully we close by today. That one, we're going to lose double digit or 5 digits as well. So the reality is, all the properties we had, underwriting changed instantly overnight in Phoenix. I'm not saying the values dropped, because the values I really haven't dropped that much. The values have dropped maybe like 10%, right? But the underwriting has changed 20, 25, 30% for the end buyers, right? Because people were willing to pay on appreciation. They were betting on the come, right? It's the expression we use in craps. So they were willing to overpay because they were betting on the appreciation. And it was working for the longest time. For us, with the underwriting changing overnight, all our costs increased, and the properties we took down, we're not borrowing cheap money, right? We're using more expensive money because it didn't hurt that much to use expensive money when things were good. We're taking 5-digit hits, but it's also part of the process.
Yeah, I actually learned a lot from that. And like you said, the buyers who you're wholesaling stuff to, or wholesaling different things too. Yes, the underwriting process did change for the end user, because someone like me, what we did was, if we looked at values decreasing 5 to 7% in our market, I said, you know what, let's underwrite it with the values decreasing 15%. Let's increase our cost of capital. Let's increase our holding time from a year to 18 months. If it still pans out and we make it 25%, then it's a great deal. And this is the market for great deals, not good deals.
Exactly.
So, and that's what we focus on is less deals. But if we get one, it's great. It's
Mhm.
also good because it's giving us a chance to slow down and create more SOPs and get more processes in the order. Because before the dispositions wasn't an issue. Everybody can do dispo. Now it's acquisitions, which is the challenge. I'm sorry, acquisitions are becoming easier. Dispositions is becoming a challenge, that what you're
Right.
facing now. The
Yeah,
opposite.
exactly. Right. I mean, we're like, man, there's so much competition. Our market's saturated. There's all these newbie wholesalers screwing everything up. Guess what? Those guys are gone. Right. I want less competition. Less competition's gone now. What are you going to do about it? Well, now it's harder to move properties. Now we got
Is
to be
that
more creative.
is that why I'm not getting any more text messages on my phone? I was getting text messages like every other day. Some of your property, some of your property. I was
Oh,
like, this
yeah.
is
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
I haven't seen any of that anymore. No text messages, no calls. It just poof went away overnight.
Yeah. I mean, we know like before we were going against 7 or 8 competitors. Right now we're competing against maybe 2 other competitors. And those 2 other competitors have crappy follow-up. So acquisition is easier today.
So how do you pivot in this market to become the dominant player? Like, I don't want you to spill the secret sauce because, it's some internal processes, but you've been around the block, you've seen this before. And like, what is the play now? Like creative financing, different
Oh yeah,
strategies.
I'll share our playbook. Our playbook right now is doing more innovations, selling properties on MLS, right? Creative, learning creative. I'm really fortunate to have Eddie Speed, right, on speed dial,
Yes.
right? No pun intended. And then sourcing capital, right, to do the creative deals. Because if it's a wrap, right, like today we may not buy properties on wholesale prices, but we can start buying properties on wholesale terms, right? And if we're going to buy properties on wholesale terms, we're going to need a little bit of money up front, a little bit, right, to make the seller happy while they do the seller care, while they do the wrap. So we just got to source private capital. So, offering innovations, doing creative, sourcing private capital. David Phelps. I had a conversation with him last week. It's like, hey, I got a plan. I see this recession looking like it's going to get serious. Looks like the Fed is literally trying to create as big a recession as possible, right? And if that happens, then there's going to be more foreclosures. But with the foreclosures, there are going to be situations where we're going to have capital, right? Because if it's 10, 15, 20K to get each one current, that adds up pretty quick, right? But if I can get private capital, now I can buy these properties sub 2 with seller carry or a seller carry with a wrap, or even just take a sub 2, and we just got to get them current, right? And get a private lender to be in second position. So I think there's a ton of opportunity if you set yourself up right. And when I say set yourself up right, I mean, not only being resourceful and being connected, like fortunately, like you and I, we know each other from the same mastermind, but on top of that, creating a reputation, right? A reputation of integrity, a reputation of performance, a reputation of honoring your word, a reputation of doing people right, having ethics. All those people that were playing the game the wrong way are gone. I'm not worried about them anymore.
Yep, that's awesome, man. And I was actually speaking with our friend Eddie Speed at the last event, and he's walking around with his head up and his chest out. He's like, "They need me now."
Yeah, dust off my shoulder here.
I
Crack
said,
the
"Yes."
knuckles.
I said the note guys are gonna prevail now. So I mean, now you talking my language. I mean, because I love the note space. I stumbled upon it in 2010, 2011. Opened up my first fund to raise capital to buy notes. 2013, played that space religiously, built mastery in it. Then started to come back around and doing some real estate, mixing it up, hybrid model. Today we have more of a hybrid model where we kind of do notes and real estate. But having that skill set, the point I'm trying to make of understanding how to do those wraps, how to do those subject twos, how to do the creative financing, right? That's very, very important. And you never know when you're going to need to use that arrow that was in your quiver, right? So I've done tax liens, I've done this, and people are like, oh, you're all over the place. No. It's a time in the market for every strategy, right?
Yep.
So I'm knowledgeable on these strategies. Of course, I can't be successful doing them all at the same time, but I can actually pivot when I need to keep those opportunities coming, and I can deploy capital on opportunities that's there. Like the tax lien business for me, where I was at, slowed down. Like, okay, I still have those processes. Let me go back over to fix and flips. Okay, great. The market is too high now, or it's slow, interest rates high. Okay, good. Cash flow, multifamily. Let's focus
Yeah.
on something that's going to be a hedge against inflation and build cash flow. Even in that space, you're seeing sellers open up creative financing, right?
Oh, they have
Especially
to
the mom
be.
and pops, right?
They have to be.
Plenty of
And I think,
opportunities.
the other thing too, where I like what you said, like looking at your history is like, oh, for Kwanzaa and everything. Well, truthfully, I've been a realtor, right? I'm still a licensed realtor, but I've been licensed since 2007. And the first 9 years of my career, I was really focused on the traditional side. And you know what's coming really handy in the last few months? My experience as a realtor on the traditional side, right? Because we're dealing with end buyers who are going to pay more. Well, now that we're doing novations, we understand how the buyer thinks, right? And on top of that, before, Faquan calls me up as an internet lead, calls me up as Zillow. I say, hey, Faquan, what you looking for? I'm looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath in this area. I say, okay, great. Let me connect you with my loan officer. Let me connect you with my handyman, right? And let's get you a house. Today, hey, Faquan, you're looking for a good deal? No problem. Let me connect you with my hard money lender and my GC, right? And I'm going to give you the concierge service. So all the stuff I used to do on the buyer side as a realtor, we're going to do on the dispo side to the person that wants to get into the real estate business today.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So let's jump into disruptors. I mean, my team, when we tried the wholesale business, we flopped, Steve, because it wasn't. I'll be honest with you. When I first joined CG many years ago, I was sitting in the first meeting, and everybody was talking about wholesale, and I was like, why am I not doing this in the business? In my business, these guys are grossing $1 million to $5 million. I need to start looking into wholesaling. Chasing the squirrel, the shiny squirrel, right? So I had all the processes, spent time going through, everything, got the training, got with you guys, got my staff going training. Boom. I think pretty much, may have had the wrong bus in the wrong seat in some areas. We realized that. And then we quickly made the pivot and pulled the plug on it. We said, you know what? Let's just focus on buying from wholesalers in that area instead of trying to build a wholesale company. I mean, it was a direct lead source. We did generate some leads, but it wasn't enough. The market was shifting too. The market was shifting, right? COVID came, slowed everything down. Then it was like a dead cat bounce. You'll call a seller and they negotiating with you. Well, such and such is close. Told me he'll give me this. So then it turned into a listing type of thing and not more wholesaling. So we was like, you know what? The writing is on the wall. Time to pull the plug on this. We tried it. We gave it our best, and that's that. So the training that you're doing, I think, is really great because sales is everything, right? Sales is everything. So speak to that a little bit about the services you guys offer there for people who you think that will be able to utilize that service.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, my background, right, is engineering. I went to school, ASU, graduated in electrical engineering, got my master's degree in electrical engineering. So I am the worst possible salesperson you'll ever meet, right? I'm an engineer at heart, right? So when I became a salesperson, I was awful. But because I was so bad, I had to work on it harder than anybody else. And so what I learned everything I could about sales and then reverse engineered it. And that's what we teach, right? We teach sales in a structured, process-oriented fashion so that anybody can do it. So if you're bad at sales, I can get you good at sales. If you're naturally dispositioned to be good at sales, I can have you be an assassin, right? Because now you got the natural goods and now you got the practice and work ethic and the skills. You're Kobe Bryant out there, right? And that's what we can do with sales training. So for us, we're walking them through a fundamental core principles of sales, giving you the tools to equip you so that you can close a higher percentage of your sales at a better price that also will make it to the finish line. Because one of the things that happens a lot, I see this in sales, is people are like, oh, I got a contract signed, and the seller doesn't show up on closing day. Are you going to get paid on that day, on that deal?
Nope.
Right. So there's so many things involved to become the authority and build rapport so that they'll work with you and they'll trust you throughout the entire transaction.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's the processes that you guys had and the strategy. I was like, wow, this is great. These guys are good. I was like, I didn't think of that. Yeah, didn't think of that. And then we went through the I think Chris Voss came and spoke one time, and he was talking about negotiation and I know you tweaked your stuff around that and kind of
Oh,
made it
for
better
sure.
from the different people. So that was a good add-on. And then you have the podcast, man. I actually was so excited that I had a date set up to be interviewed by you. And I think it was
Mm-hmm.
last year. My son just started school. And while I'm at the event, my phone just kept ringing. The school was calling because he was not showing up in school. It's full transparency, guys. He was waking up late, not showing up in school was like the first day. And I was like, oh my God, this is a disaster. Like CG always start in September, the same time school start for us here in New Jersey. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I can't. So I had to leave early and I missed the opportunity to be interviewed. But I'm looking
No,
forward to it next time we're in Arizona. Definitely have my team reach out
for sure, for
to come and
sure.
speak. It's some really great content there. I had the chance to visit your office and see you set up your shop and meet your
Yep.
team. And I really like what you guys are doing. You have from what I can remember, the accountability chart
Yeah.
set up right on
Go
the
full
board. Who's
blown.
responsible for what? I love it.
Yeah. There's no confusion, right? Who's in what seat and what they're responsible for.
Yep.
And that was, having Gary Harper come out and help us build that out was a game changer for us because there was some confusion. Who's responsible for what? Who's accountable for what? And yeah, having the accountability chart so you know exactly who is in what seat and who's accountable for what. Game changer. There's no questions. There's no confusion.
Yeah. We actually took our accountability part and put it in the Quizlet and sent it to our team. The Quizlet, the ones that kids do at school. We send it to our team. Figure out whose responsibility to do a Quizlet and give them bonuses.
I love it.
If they
That's awesome.
Right, build that muscle memory. So yeah, that's awesome, man. But yeah, so I appreciate you coming to the show, man, sharing all the wisdom and value. It's just been a great interview. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? You can drop some websites or social media handles where they can
Well,
follow you at. Yeah,
before I
what
do
you
that, I
got?
mean, I would just say, right, like you're talking about how you were looking at us at Collective Genius and like, oh, these guys are wholesalers. This is interesting, right? But what happened when I'm there? I'm watching you present. It's like this Faquan guy, he's got money figured out. I got to be more like Faquan. So it's funny, right? Like we always want what's on the other side. The grass is always greener.
Yeah,
The other side.
it's actually not. I learned that the hard way. And I'm actually rereading again Traction. This is my fourth time reading it, and I was reading EOS and Traction at the same time. I think chapter 3 EOS is Vision Traction Organizer, and I think chapter 1 or 2 in Traction talks about the VTO, same thing, but it's your core focus, right? I keep coming back to that and looking at that. And I looked at just recently, because we're coming up for our quarterly this month in 2 weeks, December 15th. And I looked at my prior VTOs, and it was core focus, tax liens, notes, fix and flips, rentals. Then it was core focus the next year, notes, fix and flip, rentals. And I'm like, how can I be doing all of this? Like, how can I scale if I don't have a core focus? Now we just got it down to fix and flips and rentals. That's it. Nothing else. We still have plenty of notes, but we're not making any new acquisitions and we're developing our core focus. That's the point. And really just trying to drive that to our team and bring them in alignment with our core values and we're gonna pretty much go from there. So I'm excited for what's to come in 2023, really trying to get my team mindset together, because a lot of people are concerned what's happening with the market, what's going on. So we're gonna get our mind right. We're gonna, dig our heels in. We're gonna work on ourselves because I truly believe your business will only grow to the extent that you do, right? So you got to do a lot of things internally to grow. I learned that coming through 2008, through that cycle that I had to grow myself internally to continue to go. But I love adversity. I love things. Like I said, fight better with blood in my mouth. I love things. I'm excited for all of the chaos that's coming.
Yeah. So the best way to, get a hold of me or follow me, I'm a steve.trang on Instagram. If you want to follow me on Telegram, it's stevetrangtelegram.com. If you're interested in potentially working with us, millionairesupport.com. You can talk to my team. What we do is we dissect what's going on in your business and then see if there's a way we can help you, right? If there's a tool, if there's a referral program, something we can refer you to, that's what my team's going to help you with. So steve.trang or stevetrangtelegram.com and millionairesupport.com.
That's awesome, man. No TikTok? No, just kidding.
I'm on TikTok. I'm not going to. I'm on TikTok. I got a lot of sales tips in there. It's actually a lot of snippets of me training my team on how to talk to homeowners on TikTok.
Awesome. Make sure you guys go to disruptors.com, millionairesupport.com. He gave you the social media handles. Make sure you go check the guy out, Steve Trang. Thanks for coming on the show, adding value. Another great episode, PFREI, Passion for Real Estate Investments. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe. And you can catch us on all those other social media channels and podcast channels. You guys know the drill. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.